To most, the Honda Jazz is just a small, reliable car driven by old people. It comes across as being just another hatchback whose purpose is merely to get you from A to B in the cheapest way possible. However, this is no ordinary Jazz, because this is actually a Jazz 1.5S, a car not sold in Europe and known to the Americans as the Fit Sport, with noticeably different styling features. Worldwide, this is one of the fastest Jazzes you can get, which is why I want to show you what makes this Jazz so much better than you think. This car is finished in a colour called Clear Sky Blue, and on top of the standard external features which are common to all Fits and Jazzes, the Sport model boasts a more aggressive front and rear bumper, side skirts, a discreet rear spoiler and alloy wheels. On top of this, it also has fog lights, LED wing mirror indicator lights and sport badging. The wheels are 16-inch 5-spoke aluminium wheels with 4 lug nuts. The car sits about 2 cm lower than a standard Jazz, and the suspension is noticeably firmer as well, but not uncomfortably so. The tow bar on this one can tow up to 900 kilos. Overall, for a car that's nearly 10 years old, it's aged rather well and it still looks good today. The engine is an L15A7 1496cc fuel-injected inline 4. It does have VTEC, but you don't really notice when it kicks in, so don't expect the meme-ified VTEC NIVIRO with this car. It makes 118 horsepower and 145 Nm of torque, and it revs to 7,000 RPM. All that power is sent to the front wheels through a 5-speed automatic transmission, rather than the droning CVT you get in most models of the Jazz. The interior is much larger than you would expect for a car of this size. The fuel tank is under the front seats, so there's room under the rear seats for small items, and the seats fold completely flat. I mean completely. With the seats down, this thing's like a van. Headroom is good both front and rear, and while very tall people might find legroom in the back a little cramped, I'm 6 foot and I fit no problem. The boot is also a decent size. We can fit 4 bags of golf clubs and 3 golf trolleys in the back relatively easily. Also, because the seats don't split right down the middle, you can have 1 seat down and still get 4 people inside. The sound system in this car is actually lit. Play AM and FM radio as well as CDs, and there's even an aux and USB input. The track, volume and mode can be controlled on the steering wheel as well as the cruise control. The climate control is automatic, you just have to set the temperature, and the gauges are analog, but the center screen displays useful information like your fuel economy, range, trip distance and odometer. It also has adjustable intermittent windscreen wipers and controls for the fog lights on the indicator stalk. Finally, it also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. So there we are, that's the New Zealand version of the Honda Jazz Sport for you. But now, let's go for a drive. Rightio, driving the Jazz Sport. And it's got some reasonable performance, you know. Watch out for people crossing the road. Let's go first gear. You know, it's pretty quick. But I think where this car really comes into its own is in the handling department. You can chuck it into corners and it'll just keep on going around, no problems at all. Definitely something that Hondas, I think, have always been really good at, is even in their really simple basic cars with really little tiny engines like the one in this car, you know, they've always had really, you know, fantastic handling. This thing definitely has much firmer suspension than an ordinary Jazz or a Fit for that matter. My mum has a Honda Fit, and you definitely notice with that the suspension is kind of a little bit more sort of roly-poly. and going around corners and stuff, it leans right over, whereas this car definitely hugs the corners a lot more. And here we go, right, first gear, nobody behind me, here we go. And that's 100. So that's the kind of acceleration that you're going to get, you know, if you put it in manual mode and you go full throttle, it's pretty good. And the other good thing about the manual mode is the engine braking. I mean, I can go down this is a reasonably steep hill, and if you just hold it in second gear, I don't even need to touch the brakes, and it just stays here. You can see that car in front is braking, or was braking, whereas I don't even need to really touch the brakes until sort of now, just to slow me down a little bit. So we'll accelerate out onto here. Speed limit's 70, so we can go a little bit quicker. So windy for the next 1.5 k's, that's what we want. Down to third, we're matching second. You know, it's definitely a very fun car to drive. It's got good performance, it handles really nicely. You know, you can really just chuck it into corners and it just soaks them up, no sweat. This road's not like ridiculously windy, but it's still good, I guess. It's really the only sort of reasonably fun local road with a decent speed limit, because the problem with so many roads around here is because they're so narrow, the speed limit's often like 50 or 60. You don't really find any like open road speed limit windy roads, because they're just too dangerous. It's too dangerous to be going like 100 kilometers an hour on them. But you know, performance is definitely good. I think the gap between second and third is possibly a little bit too much for my liking. You know, third we're going just over 2,000 revs, and you put it into second and suddenly it's up to like 3,500. But you know, it's alright, we can make do. Wait for all these cars to go, and then we'll check out the handling around the roundabout. Here we go. Those other cars are probably going, what is this imbecile? But point still stands, you know. I don't know how fast I was going around there. I wasn't looking because I was concentrating on the road. But, you know, it's got some good performance. Right, here we go, second gear. That's not even full throttle, and it's like, just accelerates up to motorway speeds, no sweat. The Jazz definitely earns its right to be labelled a sport. I say the bigger engine, but I mean it's an extra 200 cc's, but it does make a noticeable difference. It gives you an extra 20 odd horsepower over the equivalent, you know, 1300 from this model of Jazz. For a car that you can buy now in New Zealand for, you know, less than $10,000, you know, to get the practicality that you do along with the performance, but you know, I mean, for zipping around town and for having a bit of fun on the back roads and for transporting a whole lot of stuff, you know, it's just perfect for everything. Pull into Kmart, no cars coming, first gear. Whoa. Up we go. And let's just come around here, and I'm just going to stop in the bus park for a bit while I just turn the camera off. So yeah, see you guys later.